Hey guys, it's the last Friday before Christmas that I'm recording this, so maybe I'll get it out on Saturday if I'm really lucky, maybe Friday night. Oh, I really don't like these bright lights. I had to go to the optometrist this morning and I had to get my eyes dilated to get some, detailed pictures at the back of it. Thankfully, they didn't find any other problems, but yeah, had to get it done. Bandit, how you doing? Bandit's just chilling today. He's having a really great day today. Aren't you? Yep. I'm not having a great day. Had a check engine light come on in my car. On my van. I got a Dodge Grand Caravan. It's a teenager now, so yep, she's starting to try to fall apart. Thankfully, the thing that I got to fix, at least the thing that I believe is the thing I got to fix is about 70 bucks Canadian. About 30 American. Yeah, so yeah, there you go. Yeah. The equivalent should have been like 45 bucks Canadian, but nope. Things are a lot more money here. Anyhow, I'll probably do that tomorrow. I've got my garage warming up so that I don't have to work in there cold, but it's unseasonably warm here. But that's not why you came, is it? Yeah. I did finish my basement washroom renovation, if you didn't catch that message earlier on a different video. And so you finish one thing and another chore comes up, doesn't it? That's the way it is. Thankfully, my wife's got a vehicle. And, it's just the two of us living at home anymore with our kids all grown up. So we'll still be able to travel to see, kids at Christmas and do other stuff. Not a problem, even if I don't get the van fixed. Now, that's enough preamble. We're going to look at this today. This is a cheap knife, inexpensive knife, a FreeTiger fixed blade, what is it, FTB101. It's already sold out on all the Chinese websites and stuff, at least the ones that I looked at. But White Mountain Knives still has some in stock, and maybe you want to get one. Maybe you don't. They're $24.99 for this. You take off 10% with coupon code CCE. That code right there, don't cut my dog. Well, it's not all that sharp anymore. It was okay from the factory, but I've used it a fair bit and tested it. I've had this knife for about a year. Do you remember that? Remember when I got it about a year ago and I made the unboxing video with some slip joint knives? You don't remember that? You probably don't remember that either because it's been so long. Do you want to know more about this knife? I'm not going to do a full in-depth review. I'm going to try to keep it around 10 minutes. And I've already jabbered on for a long time, so let's get this party started. Like I said, I've had this thing for about a year. It just never got high on my list, but now I'm running really low on knives that I have in stock. I've ordered some more stuff from White Mountain Knives and a couple other knives that I've got coming in, but that's going to take quite a while to get here, and I don't want to do a long video today. I just don't have it in me, but we'll do this. Not a full review. They say it's D2 steel. Can you trust FreeTiger? You decide. I think it's probably a stainless. A lot of knives from China that say that they're D2 when they're low budget knives like this thing actually are 8CR13 MOV. I can't say if this is D2 or 8CR13. I've got no way to test the steel type itself. So it might be a D2. I'll leave some text on the screen here. I'm going to sharpen this after I've made the video, and I'll tell you how hard it feels, if it feels hard enough to be a D2 or if it doesn't, but you'll just read that. Anyhow, the knife, there you go. The sheath, yeah, you get this leather, they call it leather sheath. There might be some leather pieces in it. There might be some leather parts. This is a manufactured material. Maybe it's a very cheap bonded leather. I like the design of the construction. How you got this loop, the way it comes in, and it's just nice and smooth over here because they brought it up and tucked it in underneath right there. That's kind of cool. But this is not regular full grain leather. I guarantee it, it's not. But it's decently stitched and it holds the knife well enough. Yeah. That's not why you're going to buy this knife. Maybe you'll buy it for this reason. It's a small guy. It's just barely sub 3 inches. Yeah, let's do the measurements. Yeah, we'll do that. The weight of this guy, 39 grams, 1.4 ounces. That's rounded. I'm going to round all these numbers. The sharpness from the factory, about 180 bests. Yeah, I measured that about a year ago and put it on my document for it. And thankfully, because I've used it and stuff, and it's duller now, but it felt pretty good. It's nice and thin at the edge. But first off, cutting edge length, it's about 7 centimeters, about 2 3/4 inches. Blade length, tip to the closest spot on this G10. And yeah, it's a two-tone G10. It's about 7.5 centimeters, just under 3 inches. So if you live in a 3-inch jurisdiction, this thing's still okay. The thickness of the blade, it's about 3 1/3 millimeters. That's a chamfer up here. So it looks thinner right here than it is. It's got this chamfer, and the thickness is right around 3 1/3 millimeters, a little over 1/8 of an inch, around about 0.13 of an inch thick. So yeah, it's decent stock for that. Very thin behind the edge. It's about 1/3 of a millimeter, about 13 thousandths of an inch thin at the edge. And that made it quite usable and functional. I'm not doing all the measurements that I usually do. The handle length, that's right around 9 centimeters, about 3.5 inches. And the thickness of the handle, it's, back here is where it's a pretty standard thickness. And that is about 16 millimeter, a little over 1/2 inch thick, about 0.6 of an inch thick. And the total length is about 16.5 centimeters, about 6.5 inches. Like I said, White Mountain Knives is the store to get this thing. If you really love this and you're in Canada, you can get this shipped directly from White Mountain Knives to a Canadian address, since it's a fixed blade and there's nothing weird about it. It'll pass through customs. It might take some time. They're pretty slow at processing stuff still, and but it should get through no problems at all. Of course, I'm not going to guarantee it because I don't work for CBSA, thankfully. Anyhow, what do I think of this thing? It's got a flat spine, a fairly flat spine. You see these layers. It's about 2 or 3 layers on each side where it's still flat. So you get your thumb on the spine here, and it's really well indexed. So your cutting edge is perpendicular to your thumb. Of course, since it's over 1/8 of an inch thick there, if you need to do some delicate cutting, that's okay. But being that thin at the edge, yeah, it cuts quite well. It cuts and slices fairly well. I'm quite happy with that. Let me see what else. Look at this. You've got these brass pins that are holding it together, and they look good on this side. And on this side, the back one looks decent, but the front one, it looks wonky, and the G10's got a little wonky. So something was defective just slightly when they put it together. It did not come loose. Like, I've played with this quite a bit, and I've even banged on the spine of this thing. It's way too small to be a batoning camping knife. It's just a little guy. Like I said, just 6.5 inches here, about 3 there. But I wanted to bang it around to see if these were going to come loose, and the handle scales haven't come loose at all, so they're okay. And it's well ground to match. Feels decent in hand. You've got all these lines milled in here. Decent texture. Kind of like it. It's okay. Not bad. And it's light. It's comfortable. And it works. I don't like the big badging on there, but I really like how thin it is behind that edge. So there you go. That's the knife. If you're in the market for one of these, go to my link or just go directly to whitemountainKnives.com and put in FTB101 and you're going to find this thing. It's a decent knife. If you're looking for a little fixed blade like this, certainly not perfect. That little defect there. But it's okay for, what is it? $22.49 after my discount. That's American dollars. If you want one of these, there you go. That's where it is. Go get yourself one. Thank you to my supporters. You guys are stunning. I appreciate your help an awful lot. One of you, and I don't know, it was probably anonymous, so I'm not going to say the name, but one of you sent me a nice $50 gift. I appreciate that very much. $50 Canadian, and I appreciate that. If you want to join my Patreon or YouTube memberships, links are down there. Text is on the screen on how to do that. And have yourselves a very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday, Whatever, if you don't celebrate Christmas and some other kind of holiday, I just hope you have a great holiday season, and I appreciate you very much. Remember, friends, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.